believe I heard in the last 24 hours that or so that Deandre Johnson will not play in the bowl game, correct? Do we know about
Correct.
anybody else?
No. I know John Ford, nose guard John Ford he announced that a while back. So Tyreek Stevenson is thought of to not be playing due to injury, but I don't know if that's been made official just yet. But I do know officially out is John Ford and Deandre Johnson, which completely caught everybody off guard. I mean, I get both sides of the argument. Injury, you look at De'Aaron King. Trust me, I get it. But you also look at a guy like Bubba Bolden, who played one of his best games when he came back to play in that bowl game after missing a couple games towards the end of the season last year. And it really helped him. Okay, you look at Brevin Jordan, who was going on to the NFL. He played his very last game in that Oklahoma State Cheez-It Bowl game. So I see both sides of the argument. For a guy who, in my opinion, needs more film, needs better film out there, I get it. But it can be a blessing in disguise for the young men behind him, your Elijah Roberts, your Jafari Harveys, to get more snaps, your Chance Williams to get more snaps and have more opportunities to show us what they have when they've been just kind of thrown to the side as pass rush options as opposed to being every down defense fans.
So Miami drops that game against Oklahoma State. They finish 8-4. I don't remember where they finished in the final top 25, probably right near the bottom of it, 23, right, wherever it was. I was starting to look it up here, regardless of whatever it was. Had they won that game, they finished 9-3 instead of 8-4, and they finish 14 or 15, let's say, something like that. So that means something to some people. Other people, that means absolutely nothing to them. They could care less. But there's no doubt that in bowl games, I think the bowl games are great. I love the matchups. I love to see teams that never play from different conferences, especially in the Power Five, play each other. There's a ton of games out there that I want to see and always do want to see during bowl time. The only question is, obviously, again, who's going to play and who's not going to play and what the motivation is going to be. So for this particular bowl, and then the other thing, regardless of who you root for, and how much value you put in a bowl game, this is college football. We get less college football than any sports fan of any sport. If you're an NBA fan, you get NBA basketball like 9 months. Baseball fan, it's all, you know, you get so many games in other sports. Even the NFL is up to 17 games now. There are precious few games. So you want to see your team play. I know I want to watch these teams play as many times as possible. So regardless of what you think of the value of the game, they're playing a decent opponent. Not going to oversell them as some great opponent, but they're a decent quality opponent, one of the 40 or 50 best teams in the country. That's who they're going to play.
I was going to say, they could look at us and say the same thing. You know, it's an okay opponent. That's what we are. You know, we're just okay.
and you know how fans are. Some of them are going to say, well, we beat them 7 years ago in a bowl game. So anyway, we're not going to see these guys play until the first week of September. That's a long, long time. So if you love your team, you want to see them play. So that said, who do you really want to see on both sides of the ball? Who are you really going to be zeroed in on to give a good performance, get that final look at them going into 22?
Man, what a question. I'm usually not. You got me on this one, Mark. Can I give you two on each side?
Oh, absolutely. Give me as many as you want.
All right. The first one on offense, I got to be honest with you, man, has to be Will Mallory. I was very down on him and not happy. Not happy about his production because catching the football is so mental that when you lose it, it's kind of hard to get it back. But he has shown toughness to be able to reel it back in, to be able to get it back. And now he was one of the better offensive players for the latter half of this season. One of the biggest things was getting him on that trick play up the sideline. And once you get him, I mean, it's like a 40-yard gain almost every time. And once we incorporated that in, where you got Knighton in as the Wildcat QB, he takes it, he gets the ace jet to Xavier Restrepo. Xavier Restrepo tosses it back to Tyler Van Dyke. Tyler Van Dyke hits Will Mallory down the sideline. And we've done it in Pittsburgh. We did it against Virginia Tech. We did it against Georgia Tech. It was whatever against Tallahassee. That play sparked him, and it got his confidence back up. He started catching touchdowns and things of that nature. So I'm really excited to see Will Mallory in this game because I think the momentum that he can bring, it's a confidence thing. And I think if he can get that confidence to roll into next season, which he has said he'll come back for his last year due to COVID, he has an extra season. So you see him come back next year, and I think he can roll. I think he can roll really well. But that's who I'm really zoomed in on offense as far as first up. Second up on offense, I'm gonna say for me, it's kind of a tie between these two receivers. Bashard Smith, and also looking at Romello Brinson. Here's why. Romello Brinson is the backup to single season leading receiver in receptions and yards, Rambo, who just left us. Charleston Rambo, who decided to opt out. That's the other person who's opted out of the bowl game. Because, I mean, literally, Mark, there is nothing left for him. He has the most receptions in a single season, most yards in a single season, most touchdowns in a single season for a wide receiver. So it's nothing left for him to do. Nothing else. Okay. So he's gotta sit out. Now the person behind him is Romello Brinson. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do because more likely than not, he's going to get his first career start for the University of Miami out at wide receiver. Okay, and I think he can do more than just the trick catches. I think he can do more than just securing as a possession receiver. I want to see what he can do against Division I cornerback as a starter and be able to get his confidence and build that chemistry with Tyler Van Dyke that they're going to take into next season. The exact same thing I'm going to say about Bashard Smith, man. I'm really excited about what he can do. And I'm hoping that under Coach Rhett, because Rhett Lashley has already left us. So I'm hoping that under Likens, Coach Bob Likens, who's going to be the offensive coordinator for our bowl game, I wonder how differently he is going to use Bashard Smith. Because under Rhett Lashley, he would come in for that ace jet, and people knew whenever he would get in the game, we would give him the ace jet. And so towards the end of the season, they just started tackling him in the backfield because they all knew they're going to just do an ace jet with him. He's played some running back for us and some slot. Okay, and I think he would be great on special teams as a punt kick returner. But Jacoby George is another young man who has been flashing on the return game and spurts as a receiver. So basically, I say the young wide receiving core and Will Mallory are the things I'm looking for on the offensive side of the ball against Washington. Defensively, I'm really ready to see this scheme because under T-Rob, who's an SEC coach, he's a 3-down front coach. So I think he's going to try to run the 4-2-5 as best as he can, but he's from the Will Muschamp tree. He was Will Muschamp's defensive backs coach when they were at Florida a decade ago. He was his defensive coordinator when they were at South Carolina together. So he's from that 3-down, odd front, very aggressive background. So I'm excited to see how this defense is going to play under the tutelage of T-Rob and how he is going to scheme this team, how the defensive backs are going to play when their position coach is the DC. Are we going to see a bunch of press man coverage, blitz in your face kind of defense? Because that's what we like at Miami. Or are we going to see some odd fronts and a bunch of, X and TE stunts and things of that nature? So it's not really a specific player. I'm really keen on how this defense is going to play under T-Rob and what he's going to bring to the table that is going to be different than the tutelage under Manuelo Diaz the last couple of seasons here, better half of this decade.